Hello there everybody, welcome back to Legends Lore. So this is a collection update video. It's actually the first one I'm going to be doing for video games. I just did a Star Wars book collection update. Video games are a big collection of mine, and I will eventually do a video game collection video. Let me know if you want to see that. But I just went to Japan, as you can see. So I got back from Japan and I got quite a few video games. It is the video game capital of the world, so I had to pick certain things up. And I'm going to share all the things I got with you here. Make sure you're hitting that like button, you're subscribing to the channel, and you're commenting below letting me know what you think of this video. If you want to see that video game collection video, let me know. I will try to do it here in the future. I do like sharing collections on this channel. That is one of the more fun things we can do here. Stay tuned for a lot more video game content. If you haven't seen, I just posted a Super Mario Brothers tier list where I ranked all the main Super Mario Bros. Games. I'm also planning on doing a lot of Zelda stuff as we lead up to Tears of the Kingdom, and Jedi Survivor comes out next week, so I can't wait to talk about that. I'll actually be streaming that over on my other channel, Star Wars Lads. If you have not checked out Star Wars Lads, make sure you do so and you subscribe there. All right, let's just get straight into the collection here. Just a couple odds and ends. So I'm a big Nintendo fan, of course, but Pokemon is something I've always really loved. And so I saw Pokemon Stadium there for 100 yen, and this one came from Book Off. If you're familiar with Japan, Book Off is one of the better places to video game shop, especially around the country, because it is a large chain of used books, used video games, films, comics, all of that type of stuff. They have all of that, manga, anime, all of that is over there. So 100 yen for a copy of Pokemon Stadium. I just thought it was cool to have. The only other Nintendo 64 game I got was Custom Robo. This is a game that was ported in the US on the GameCube. It's very hard to find here in the US on the GameCube, but I got the Nintendo 64 version because it's the original version, and it was also pretty cheap, 480 yen. If you don't know, that's about $2.50. So yeah, solid copy. A lot of the things I got were for the PlayStation system, the family of consoles, a lot of PS Vita, PSP, PS3, PS4. Those systems are all region free, so I could get those without having to buy a Japanese console. So I did do that with PS Vita. I got Phantasy Star Nova, which is one of the Phantasy Star games. I've actually never played a Phantasy Star game, but I do have it on the Dreamcast. I was looking for Phantasy Star 2, but I never found it over there, but Nova is supposedly a pretty good one. I'm looking forward to getting into the series eventually. One of the more popular series for people who go to Japan that say you don't necessarily need to know Japanese to play these games are the Gundam Breaker games. I did get Gundam Breaker 3 for PS Vita, a game that has been ported on many systems over here in the US, but it's initially was exclusive to PS Vita, and the Japanese version is still exclusive to PS Vita. There was no American port for Puyo Puyo Tetris, and I'm a huge puzzle game fan, so I was very excited to find this one. This was one of my top priorities when I was looking for PS Vita games. PSP is also one of the handhelds that I don't have that many games for. It was a console that when I was playing it back in the day, I was playing a lot of Star Wars games, a lot of sports games, didn't really get into the vast library of RPGs and all that type of stuff that was on the console. It just wasn't for me back when I was, 8. But I did pick up a few games to add to my collection. The first one was Digimon Adventure, another game that was not that expensive, also from Book Off. I know nothing about Digimon. I remember when it was on TV, the anime, growing up. Watched a few episodes here and there, but I was always a Pokemon type of guy, so I never really got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Digimon. I'm excited to check this out, though, because I know Digimon still has a bit of a presence over in Japan. I saw quite a few stores with Digimon stuff. A couple of other RPGs for the PSP. I picked up Last Ranker, which I heard good things about. This is a Japanese exclusive game, of course, and I'm looking forward to checking it out. Same with Grand Knight History, another RPG for the PSP. Here are a couple odds and ends for the PSP. We did get US versions of these, but they were really cheap, and I think these were the first things I bought over there. Monster Hunter Portable and Monster Hunter Portable 3, they're quite cheap. They have a lot of copies of these games over there, so I picked these up. Next is the only PS3 game I got while I was there, and that's Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Wrecker. This is another Gundam game. I actually got this from Super Potato, and mostly because when I was there, so I went for cherry blossom season, which of course is probably the most popular time for tourism in Japan, and the video game stores were very picked over. I think Book Off actually had the best selection while I was there because less people went to Book Off's versus stuff like Super Potato, which are super popular over there. Of course, no pun intended. Was very picked over. I didn't really see anything I couldn't live without, and some of the prices were just outrageous there. So I picked up a game like this for 418 yen, a game that is Japan exclusive, and something to just say I bought something at Super Potato. Another game I saw recommended on Japanese exclusive video game forums for Americans specifically, or Western audiences, was Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. This is a game that I really have no idea what it is. I haven't tried it, but because, I'm a fan of Final Fantasy, haven't played that many Dragon Quest games, but the ones I have played I have enjoyed. So I thought this was a cool thing to add to the collection. Obviously, you can get most of the Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest libraries over here. So I thought might as well pick it up. Something that's super popular in Japan currently. It's never been that popular here in the US, but right now it is incredibly popular and there's a lot of hype around this franchise. It's a franchise coming back from the past, and that is Kamen Rider. There is a new film from Hideki Anno, the creator of Evangelion and Shin Godzilla, called Shin Kamen Rider, which is coming out over there. I believe it was out in theaters while I was there, but it is coming to the US soon. This is a Kamen Rider game that a lot of people recommended. Heard it was quite good and something that you can play in English, so that's cool. Kamen Rider Memory of Heroes. So that's it for the PlayStation section of this video. I'm going to get into some Nintendo stuff, starting with the DS because the DS is also region free. I got Jump Superstars for the DS. This was a cool one. It has all the Shonen Jump characters in it. It's a game that features all of them. I don't really know what type of game it is. Another game for the DS, Dragon Quest 9. This was one I didn't have, and so I figured I might as well pick up the Japanese version of it. It is quite a cool copy and it was in very good condition, not that expensive. A game that is certainly not exclusive to Japan, but I am a big Pokemon guy. I feel like I can play those games front and back with my eyes closed, and so I certainly feel like I can play those games in Japanese. And so I picked up Pokemon Platinum, which is one of the more expensive games to get in the US. I actually don't have a copy of this. This is one of the only Pokemon games that I rented as a kid instead of bought, unfortunately. And so now if I wanted the American copy, I've got to pay $200+ for a complete copy and an authentic copy. So I'm glad to have the Japanese one for now. On almost every list you look up of games that are exclusive to Japan that you must pick up when you're over there is Dragon Quest 10. Dragon Quest 10 was released on a variety of platforms, but it never made its way over to the US. And I picked up the Switch version. I believe this is more like a definitive edition, a complete collection. Again, I don't know much about this game. I just know that's Dragon Quest. I have played some of Dragon Quest 11, so I'm excited to play this, and Switch is region free as well. Retro games were something I really wanted to buy when I was over there. I wanted a Famicom, but I couldn't find one for a reasonable price. Definitely charge you prices of being a tourist and being in the stores, right? Like you're paying the memory tax, right? Of saying, I bought this in Japan, versus buying it on eBay where you can get it cheaper, but it's not really that memorable. So everything is up in Japan, of course, with the prices in video game stores. So I wanted to buy more retro games. I had a dream of going there and getting all these boxed retro games. But again, they were really picked over. I didn't see too many things, so I only bought a few things. Of course, it's hard to pack retro games, especially SNES, Game Boy, NES games, the ones that have boxes, because they can easily get beat up and ruined in travel. So you have to really pack them well. And then on a more backpacking style trip like I did, it was hard to keep those things in good condition, not only for the entirety of my trip, but also the flight home. First off is one of my favorite puzzle games of all time. We did get a port of this to the US as Tetris Attack, but I've played it mostly on my Switch Virtual Console, and so I got Panel de Pon complete in box. Love this game. It's a big hit for my family as well, just to have it. It's not a valuable game, it's not a rare game. I do love this game. Another random book off purchase. It is not exclusive to Japan by any means. I just saw it and it had a nice box and it was pretty cheap, so I thought it would look cool on display, and that's Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest. The last thing I'm going to show for the video is one of the things I wanted to get the most. Unfortunately, I didn't find the version I wanted of this. I asked a few video game shops when I was there, and they kind of just laughed at me, like, how you actually expected us to have this. And yeah, I did. I'd hope. Didn't end coming away with it, but I got the second best version. The other one, I wanted to get 2 versions of this game. Ended up only coming home with one. I can get the other one eventually, or next time I go back to Japan. Star Wars Celebration in 2025 is in Japan. Maybe I'll be back then. I don't know. Hopefully. I loved the country. I loved my time there. It was wonderful. But I did end up buying a copy of Pocket Monsters or Pokemon. This is Pokemon Red with Charizard on the front. A boxed complete copy of this game. I'm excited. I'm super excited to have this. I mean, I've wanted boxed copies of Pokemon for a long time. I have all the cartridges, 3-4 copies of all the cartridges back when I was a kid, and the battery would die, and I thought, oh my God, it's broken. Like, it doesn't save anymore. I got to get another cartridge. Back when you could get those cartridges for like $5, and now they're selling for hundreds of dollars each. I'm excited to have this. I don't have a Japanese Game Boy. I don't really ever intend on playing this, but the cover art is awesome. I love the box. You can pick up the Japanese box copies. They take such great care of the stuff, their video games over there, that you can buy box copies of these a lot easier. I think I just went in a bad time of the year. If I went in the summer even, or in the winter, or in the fall, I probably would have been able to find the copy of Pokemon Green that I wanted. Pokemon Green was the only version of the original game that was not released here. We only got red, blue, and yellow. Over there, they got green, red, and yellow, but they also got a version of blue as well over there. But I believe it came out after red and green. I really wanted green. I wanted the Venusaur cover, but Charizard is my favorite starter. It's the obvious pick that everybody chooses, but I have always loved Charizard. I love this cover art, and I'm very excited to have this in my collection. Also went to the Pokemon centers. I guess I could have shown those. I got a couple plushes. I got the Charizard plush, so this is going right next to the Charizard plush in a little display in my game room. Pretty excited to have this. That's the last thing on my video. So thank you so much for watching this little collection update for video games. I had a great time in Japan, but I'm looking forward to coming back and making more content. There's so many things to talk about right now in the world of pop culture. Of course, like I mentioned, a lot of video game stuff coming out, video game movies. Super Mario Bros. Is killing it, and I really enjoyed the film. I went to go see it last week. There are a lot of movies I'm catching up on. There's also a lot of franchises coming out that I'm going to be making tier lists for. When Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 comes out, I'll make my biannual MCU tier list, my updated one. I haven't made one since, I believe, Black Panther came out last year. Keep an eye out for that. Of course, keep an eye out for Jedi Survivor coverage and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom coverage. A lot more Legend of Zelda stuff. I will be doing a tier list for Legend of Zelda. I'll be doing a bunch of different rankings for Legend of Zelda. That is my favorite Nintendo franchise. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.